Here on The Colour of Country Life, speaking with Stephen Reid again from Michell Wool. Good to have you back with us again this Friday, Stephen. How are you going?
Excellent. My pleasure to be back. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, how are we going on I think it's our third week of auctions for the year. Are we getting into a bit of a groove of things here?
It does seem to be that way, and I like to work the groove. That could work this year, but really solid market. We've got the Chinese New Year break on in China at the moment, so all the mills are closed, and there's some talk of extended closing. Even our plant will be down for 10 days. And usually people expect the market to be soft with the bigger buyer out, but that wasn't the case. The market was up 15 cents on the market indicator in Aussie dollars, but actually down 11 with the Aussie-US currency really weakening.
Right, so it's the currency's having a more significant effect at this point in time?
I think it's helping. There's a number of factors at play. One is that the raw material in the factories in Europe and in China is low, so in terms of greasy wool or early-stage processed wool, and a lot of that's caused by people holding back their buying, number one. Number two is delays in shipping. The logistical issues are an absolute nightmare at the moment. You know, when we used to think of 3.5 weeks to get to China, now you've got to get your head around 5. Getting wool to Europe used to be 4 to 5 weeks, now you talk 6 to 8. So that supply chain is slowing down. And some of those mills around the world are realising, well, you've got to get in and buy it. The other, obviously the currency is helping a little bit. The Aussie-US is just under 71. So in US dollars, wool looks relatively cheap to what people have seen for the last few months.
And when you mentioned there some Chinese factories might have been taking an extended break due to COVID, I know here in Australia on the meat processing side, we've had our own disruptions on the processing end. Is that a global trend about processing, some factories shifts going down and the like?
Not so much in Europe. You know, we had that issue in Europe where and we're facing it now in our own factory here in Adelaide, that you've got close contacts can't come in, and we're struggling to man shifts in Adelaide. In Europe, they've just got on with it, and they're almost using the New South Wales Victorian approach. If you're up for it and you do a rat test, come to work. If you're feeling crook, stay home. But in China, they're still adopting that zero COVID, so there is a lot of issues up there at the moment. Most factories, wool factories, have probably 75 to 80% of their staff come from other provinces, and part of the tradition in China is during the Chinese New Year break, go back and see your family. So the fear is a lot of them will be picked up in provinces where there is an issue and shut down and can't come back to work. So it's complicated, and every day is a new day, but certainly a 10-day shutdown for a lot of factories is longer than usual in China. Right,
and so when we look at what's coming up in the auctions this week, people still putting up a decent amount for this week's sales?
Yeah, we seem to be averaging about 42,000 bales each week. This week was the same, 43. Next week's 42. So expectation is for a pretty solid week going forward. Even, as I've mentioned a couple of times, Chinese New Year, the factories are closed. The buyers and traders don't stop. It's no different to here. In terms of commercial activity, it just runs every day without fail.
There's a bit of maybe an adaptation of the old saying, a bale in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, perhaps.
Or the other saying that growers are turning wool into cash, which is what it's all about.
Excellent. Well, that's good news for our growers at least. Stephen, thanks for joining us again here on Flow.
Absolute pleasure. Have a great weekend. On again next week.